Yo, what is going on guys? It is your boy Steves, and today's video is something a little different to what I'm used to uploading. However, before I get into the video, I would like to say a massive thanks to everyone that supported the channel from day one. I love you guys so much. We're almost at 1k subs now. You know, I told you we were getting there, and we are getting there. So a massive thanks to everyone. And don't forget to like, let me know what you think below, and you know, as always, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. So without further ado guys, let's jump into this week's build video. And it is nasty. So today we have a Stamina Nightblade build. It's super high damage. It's got that glass cannon OG playstyle that I love personally. It's been quite refreshing to play and get that old Stamblade feeling coming back to life. You know, it's pretty much a Gank blade, although it can hold its own in like Outnumbered due to just its super high burst potential, but it is super squishy, so you have to be really careful. You know, you have to make fast decisions, which really is what Stamblade should feel like. So I'm going to leave the clips playing in the background. I'm going to chat about the build whilst the clips play. If you want to see the build detail in full, you can find a link to the ESO build editor below with all the details in the description, as well as a full write-up in the actual description itself. I know some of you guys just watch the videos to find out the sets, so I'll run through them first. So basically I am running 5 pieces of medium mechanical Acuity on the body, 2 pieces Balorgh monster set, and 5 pieces of Spriggans on the front bar with a 2-piece back bar weapon. So that's the build for all you people just wanting to know the sets. All you people that actually want to know, you know, what the build's about in full detail, I'll go through that now. So why Acuity? Acuity is a great set, you know I love it. You know, we're in a meta now that's heavy focused on flat damage. You've got people running around with lower crit resist because of Markarth. Acuity gives us some really nice line of stats, so we've got stamina, magicka, weapon damage, you know, they help us out, as well as a 5-piece that makes all of our attacks crit for 5 seconds after dealing damage. So all of our damage is going to be crit in our burst, which is exactly what we want. So we are a Nightblade, so that gives us extra 10% crit passively. We run Specky Bow, which gives us up to another 10% crit. What else? We are a Khajiit, which also gives us 10% more crit damage. We're running all Divines with a Shadow Mundus. I think that's another 16% crit damage. And there's also room to slot Channeled Acceleration on this build, which gives another 10% crit damage. However, I haven't found it yet on this particular tune, but I find it already works without it, and the bar space anyway is pretty bad. Like you've got to have certain skills on your bar, so I found that without slotting it I was fine. You know, I need my magicka for my invis anyway. So that gives us like a full amount of a 2 times crit modifier, or 2.06 to be precise, and that's before CP and before minor force. So that's pretty huge since we are running Acuity and all of our damage will hit 2 times harder than our flat damage. So with CP we go up to about 2.3 times modifier, because we put 24% crit damage into there. So for clarification, I'm using 5 pieces of Acuity on the body, all medium, all divines, all enchanted with stamina. Our next set is Spriggans, and you're probably thinking why Spriggans and not like Stoons or Griffins or Sench or any of the other better crit damage sets. Well, I tried all of them sets, but I found out that Spriggans was just working better for me. You know, you've got the damage, it's always there, as and when you need it. You don't have to rely on doing anything out of the ordinary to proc your damage or anything like that. It's just there as and when you need it. And we're also in a horrible tanky meta at the moment, and found that Spriggans gave me so much extra burst on like my full combo than any of the other sets did. So we're running 3 infused jewels with weapon damage enchants, and that's just for straight up burst. You know, you could run 1 bloodthirsty, but our executes already hit super hard, as you see in the clips. And you know, the high base damage really helps with staying alive. On this build, Vigor and Rally actually work as intended, and they actually heal for good amounts, and that's partly due to running 3 Infused. So on the front bar we run a great sword. Swords give us 6% additional damage, and that stacks with our crit modifier. You know, I tried Maul, I had success with Maul. I was definitely hitting higher crit numbers with sword though, so we run this 2H sword and Nernhorn to amplify weapon damage. I do use Berserker enchant on both weapons since I usually slot Escapist or double dot poisons on one bar, and you know, I just always want that buff to be there. So our next set, Balorgh's bread and butter really. More damage, more pen, and if you hit someone with a 500 they're as good as dead. You know, you want to be getting into a habit of saving up 120 ultimate for the stun on incap anyway, so that makes running Balorgh worth it in my opinion. So the main reason why we run it is just because it's funny. You know, when you've got a 500 in one tap someone, it's just satisfying. We all know it, we all know the feeling, and that is really why anyone runs Balorghs, just to save up that 500 fat boy. So we run with 1 heavy head and 1 medium shoulder, so we're running 1 heavy, 6 medium on this build, and now they're both enchanted with stamina as well, both divines, yada yada. So that's the gear and why we run it. Now I'm just going to go over a few need to know bits really. So like I said, we're a Khajiit, we're running a Shadow Mundus, we're using Tri-Food but Witch Jugger Food, and we're using Tripots for sustain, and all of our survivability comes from effective use of Invis. Now our skill bars can sometimes be flexible, you know, as long as you've got at least 1 assassination ability on the front bar with a spammable and an execute, you're pretty much set. So here's what I used and found was like the best and easiest way to quickly bang people out. So front bar, I ran surprise attack, so that sets off balance, stuns and reduces armor slightly. It's a great skill, hits super hard. You know, if you line up a heavy attack from stealth on the flank before activating this ability, you can pretty much gank people without an ulti, as you see in the video. Second skill is Rally, big fat heals, minor endurance, weapon damage buff, you know, key to survivability. Next we slot Ambush. Now this is our gap closer, and it's nice to open up from stealth with this as it hits super hard. It applies vulnerability, which increases all of our damage done by another 5%, and then power, which makes our light and heavies hit super hard. You know, you should be light attack weaving all your abilities naturally on the gank combo, so this just adds a huge amount of damage to everything. Next I have Camo Hunter. Now this gives us major savagery, which helps our crit heals and our crit chance while Acuity is on cooldown. Rally crit heals are the only way you'll clutch your way out of situations sometimes, so this really helps with that. It also gives us minor berserk for the amount of time it takes for us to unload our full combo, which is another 5% extra damage, which is lovely. You do have to hit them from the sides or the back though. However, you should always be doing this or getting into a habit of doing it on a Nightblade, since you get the pen from a flank passively. Finally, we run Executioner, the only skill left in the game that is nice to actually animation cancel. This is the main reason I use it over Killer's Blade. You know, you can get 20k plus easily out of nowhere and it doesn't even look like you've cast it. We run in cap on the front bar, huge burst, a stun and 3 resource return. The other morph with Defile and ult gain is good as well, but you know, I found the Defile nerf, I've just been using in cap because it locks them down. You know, we've got the stun back, it kind of feels like old Stamblade again. Kind of, you know. Obviously not, but not until I get old Shuffle back. Nothing will ever be the same. But let's not get into that. So on our bow bar, we run Leeching Strikes. This gives us heals while weaving, free resource restore, you know, that is much needed on this build. The main reason this is here to give us 8% more max magicka passively on our back bar for our invis, and also increase our healing done. So next skill is Vigor. You can survive without it, but it's just nice for activating, you know, in sticky situations. Next we run Specky Bow. This gives us a lot of nice passive damage and healing, and it actually carries over to our front bar. So as well as a super hard hitting burst ability, as well as, you know, when you need it, it's bread and butter for Stamblade really. Next skill, Shadowy Disguise, no words needed really. So. And finally we run Venom Arrow. Now don't use Poison Inject. Honestly, you're going to be dropping bodies, so Venom Arrow is going to help you like stop people resurrecting the mates. So you drop 2 or 3, they start popping up, you know, they start popping their ults and missing, and then they start sweating. Now they're like, oh shit, we're going to get wiped by one guy. So they start trying to focus res the mates. You know, sustain is fairly rough on this build, so if you're not careful and you don't have like a pot active, we don't want to use and waste stamina sprinting and bashing people. So Venom Arrow, beautiful skill, you know, and it's going to get them stun locked as well if you interrupt them properly. So it's awesome for being just annoying really, and it will really help you clean up those 1vx's if that's where you want to take this build. We run 0 points into Farmer's Edge as well, so Poison Inject really didn't make much sense. So on the back bar, swap between Toxic Barrage, you know, for the ultimate troll, and Soul Siphon, but Soul Siphon seems to get me killed more often than it saves me, which is why I kind of use Toxic Barrage a lot more. But you know, get away with anything here. So that's the skill bars, guys, so I'm going to jump straight into CP now. So CP is fairly simple. I'll go through blue tree since that's what matters. Red and green is totally up to your playstyle. I mean, I'll show you what I run in the clips, but I'll only talk about the blue. So I run 81 into crit damage and healing. That gives us 24% extra crit damage. 81 into Master at Arms, giving us another 24% damage. 64 into physical damage for another 13%, and I put the rest into pen to amp up our flat pen value. This is a full direct damage, all crit build, and it's hands down the best CP to run for this kind of build. As for green and red, I personally invest a lot into like reducing the cost of roll dodge, amping up our resource restore from heavies, you know, setting them off balance, and heavy attacking with a bow gives you a crazy amount of resources back. So tenacity is really key to sustain, and our base recov as well with Markarth. I invest into flat damage mitigation, direct damage mitigation, as well as a chunky amount into dot damage mitigation since we don't have a purge, as well as a good amount into resistance since we are running all divines. So you can see the exact values in the clip, but like I said, it's personal preference in all honesty. So that's it for the build, guys. If you enjoyed it, I'd love to hear your feedback. The build really does feel like Stamblade in its former glory, so if you like the sound of that, definitely give it a whirl. As always, guys, thanks for watching. I love you all. It's rare I upload Stamblade stuff, but before I started bombing, Stamblade was my main, so it does feel great to be just be back on it and slapping people. So thanks for stopping by, have a great day. This has been your boy Steve. Peace.